Hello. Oh, I think you're muted, Dr. B.
Dr. B, you're muted. There we go.
What kind of technology puts it on pause and doesn't come off of it when it's supposed to?
Don't worry, we're here for you.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Doug is this technology guy that is going to take us into the promised land. And so anything that messes up, we're going to be good. I am so excited to talk to you guys today. Oh, I can remember back in my day, and I usually don't start the show, but it reminded me. I got my master's in educational technology back in 1992. Wow. So you can imagine what technology was like. We didn't have this thing called the internet that was doing all these wonderful things. I mean, we did, but we didn't have it in any way like it is today. I mean, we were looking, these little chat thing rooms that were going back and
projectors,
forth.
Right?
Yeah, we had the projector. Part of what I taught. So I taught teachers how to use technology in the classroom.
Amazing.
And that was what my my degrees in education, and I was a high school computer teacher and high school PE teacher. And so when I would have, and it was mandatory for teachers to get their credential to take a technology class. And so, yes, I was teaching the VCR and how to make sure you could connect the VCR to a television. Yes, I was teaching how to use an overhead projector and put plastic slides on top of the overhead projector at the time.
The media carts of that era, right? Yeah. You wheel in the media cart. We all know. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was, and then when I did my first web class, I was at Cal State San Bernardino, and we're teaching the World Wide Web, and we were using a program at the time. It was called, Mosaic, I think it was. And it was it was before Netscape. It was before any of the browsers that we know today, a Firefox or a Chrome or any of those. And they hadn't written all the code on it yet. So there's me and 12 graduate students who were sending, this is what we'd like to do. We would like to have these 3 colors on our page. Can you write us code so that we can make sure that we have these 3 pages? And then it would email over to Sweden, and Sweden would then send us back the HTML proper code that would work in order to program. So it took us a whole semester to get 4-page web page put together.
Wow.
We were ecstatic.
But that was cutting edge back then, man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's no way video would have been any thought of anything that we do. Yeah. So it was so fun. Oh man, so I'm excited to talk to library scientists. These guys are the author of People Fuss podcast. Which is amazing. I can't wait to spend some time on it and hear the guests and hear the topics. This past weekend, I launched a book. You'll love this. So I was in Pittsburgh. I was doing some speaking, and I launched my new book called Relationship versus AI. And so it's all about putting relationship first before you start diving into AI, and how important the AI is. Because for me, it was the equalizer. I was a special ed kid who was told I wasn't going to amount to anything. And when I'm talking about 1992 happened, I could actually type in my word processing program, and there would be spell check. And there wouldn't be an English teacher who could tell me at all that you're not going to amount to anything because you can't spell. In fact, a few years before 1987, I live in Colorado now, but I was in California, moved back to Colorado, and I went to take my teaching test here in Colorado, and I was going to be a PE teacher because I got a degree in PE and one in communications. And so I'm going to be this PE teacher, but in Colorado, I had to take this test, these knowledge-based tests that can tell you whether you can be a teacher yet. And at the end of it, there was a 150-word spelling test. I have dyslexia. There's no chance I'm passing 150 words. I'm thinking to myself, why do I need to spell onomatopoeia
I can't even do that. I don't have dyslexia and I can't spell that. What the hell? Why do you need to anything you can look up? One of my favorite things a professor, I should say, once told me is that I'm not going to make you or test you on anything that you can just look up real quick. We need to rethink that sort of testing scheme. Yeah.
And today I don't think they're doing that anymore. Please, I hope they're not doing that anymore where you have to pass a spelling test. But back then, we're just getting into word processors. We're just getting in. I still don't think to teach PE, it mattered at all. Like, I'm blowing the whistle, I'm having kids run, I'm playing basketball, soccer,
Wait a minute, how do I spell that again?
I'm writing the board. We are going to play soccer today. It's just so silly. But you move forward. And so it's all about, technology and the things that we do. So I'm so excited that you guys are doing some things in the world that are making a difference, not based on just having to know things, but more probably about how to learn things and how to access things that are important. And so, like with all my guests, I want you to tell your story. I want you to tell us how you got to where you're at. Then we're going to chop it up a lot about what it is that you're doing. But I think it's just so important that people get to know us a little bit before they start to, if we want to know, like, and trust folks. How do you know, like, and trust them if all they tell you is what they do and how to do it? If you kind of know a little bit about them, you're really going to have access to be able to jump in, see what they're doing. These guys are doing some phenomenal things in the world that I want you to be a part of. But we're going to know why here in a minute. So, Carrie and Doug, thank you for both being on. This is so cool. I probably in 450 episodes that I've done, I rarely have maybe 2 or 3 times where a couple has got together, sat together, and they're some of the best podcasts ever. So there's a high expectation here, you guys.
Yeah, high bar there. High bar. Okay. All right.
We're so excited to be here, though.
Yeah, this is fun already.
Yeah, this is fun already, and we don't get to do this kind of thing very often. It's sometimes it's a little more fun to be a guest for someone else than to have to produce your own show, as you might have experienced in the past.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so the floor is yours. You guys tell us all about who you are, and then we're just going to have so much fun as we go through today.
Sure. Well, my name is Carrie Prince.
And I'm Doug Daniels.
That's right. And we host a podcast show and just a podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts called People Fuss, which you can see some of our branding around. We want to talk about the connection and disconnection that people have in life, love, and leadership. And we have some different backgrounds that kind of speak to that. And I'll let Dougie go first in terms of his background and how he got to where he is now.
Sure. Yeah. So like a lot of young men, I think I spent a lot of my 20s just kind of aimless wandering after high school. I went to I'm from Southern California, and I went to Hawaii for a semester, University of Hawaii. But I only went there because that was what you were supposed to do, right? You out of high school, you go to college, and that's that. So I dropped out after a semester and then spent the next few years just kind of working in the film industry, working odd jobs, and not really knowing what I wanted to do with my life. 2008 financial crisis hit. I lost a lot of work. I realized I didn't have anything to fall back on, really. So I decided to go back to school finally, and I was ready to do that. And man, let me tell you, going to community college, first of all, which is the smartest move ever. Go to community college. Don't go straight to university if you don't have to. But going from the real world into college was just, it was amazing. I was looking around at all these kids goofing off, and I'm like, dude, you're getting paid to read and learn? Like, this is amazing. It's hard out there. So I did 2 years at a community college, transferred to UCLA, and I ended up just randomly getting a job in the library at UCLA. It was with the IT department, and I worked my way up in that kind of student job area. And at the end of it, I was looking at graduation, and I was deciding between graduate school for history or staying gainfully employed and seeing where this takes us. And at the time, this was in 2015 or 16. And so you've heard of maker spaces where, 3D printers and laser etchers and cutters and stuff. This was a relatively new thing back then, particularly for academic institutions and academic libraries. And the department that I worked for, the IT department in the library, had just purchased a 3D printer. And so they offered me a 2-year contract position to figure out how to develop a 3D printing service at UCLA.
You and Dr. B are like this. I'm serious. Oh my gosh.
And so I looked at that, and I'll be honest, actually, one of the things that was a deciding factor, I looked at my advisor's salary, because it's UCLA. All the salaries are public information. You can look it up. Sacramento Bee does a fantastic job of publishing all of those things. So I looked at my advisor's salary, and I looked at my boss's salary, and that was the deciding factor. I'm like, wow, they're already making more money in the private or public sector, I guess, technically. But so that was that. And yeah, the rest is history, as they say. I now am a 3D data librarian. I don't do so much with 3D printers. I work mostly with generating 3D data. So we have 3D scanners. We have a drone for 3D mapping. We're about to obtain some terrestrial LIDAR. So LIDAR is light detection and ranging. It fires a bunch of lasers and measures the time.
Lasers.
Measures.
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
to get back to the sensor, and it just creates this digital point cloud. And what I love about this job is that it marries technology and history, which are kind of my two favorite subjects. But it also exposes me to a ton of engineering projects, architecture projects, tons of work at UCLA Health, ophthalmology, thyroid. I might be scanning thyroids in an operating room soon. Like, really cool stuff. And really just kind of providing researchers with the 3D data tools that they need to do what they need to do, or do what they want to do. And so that's where I'm at right now, and very happy with what I do, and feel very, very lucky that I just kind of fell into it. I mean, it really was a very serendipitous kind of path to doing what I do. If I had gone straight to UCLA from high school, this would not have been an option.
Now, before you go, Carrie, just one thing that I cannot wait to do, and especially if your life transforms like the way I think it will, is my son was, when he was going to Azusa Pacific University, he was a track athlete as well. He worked in the IT department.
Cool.
But he did his degree in graphic design. Nice. And so now he works at Pixar. And he's in charge of Pixar University. And so if you end up there, then you're going on a tour of Pixar University.
Yeah.
All right. Amazing.
Pixar,
amazing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. He's 38 now. So I have a feeling there's a big, huge connection.
Yeah.
That is with you.
We just turned 40, I
Yes.
guess, in April. So I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Time flies.
With him and his wife. So there is a home for you that you will just go, wait a minute, who are these people? So I can't wait to introduce. Either way, I'm going to make sure I introduce you to him. But
cool.
And his wife, Sheely, they worked in the IT department together at Azusa Pacific University before they got married, as they were going through school and stuff. And so, nice. Oh my God, it's so cool. All right, Carrie, talk about us. Let me know exactly all about you.
Okay. Well, I have a really eclectic background. I started my young life in the arts and the performing arts. I grew up with a dancing mom. She was a modern dancer. So I grew up with a pretty wacky, crazy dance all around me. I studied ballet really seriously when I was young. And in college, I thought I was going to be an environmental lawyer. But I quickly got wrapped up in the art scene at UCSD and ended up becoming a choreographer and leader in that department, represented the department for a while, and then got a really great job after college teaching in the school districts in San Diego, making sure I was working through a grant where we were trying to incorporate arts into the classroom and teach teachers how to do that, which is pretty cool. I also did other jobs. I was sort of dancing locally, choreographing locally, and then I would always pick up all these other little jobs. I always liked to have lots of jobs. And after a few years, I realized I really wanted to explore the bigger world of LA and entertainment. So I dropped all those jobs. I moved up to LA and did the very typical thing of kind of figuring out what was going on for the first maybe year or two. And then I got into the production office, which is really sort of the coordinator of the thing. So I worked on really high level, big budget studio, film and television. I've spent about 10 years there. And then when COVID hit, I kind of pivoted to site managing COVID test sites, skyrocketed to the top of the site managing world there very quickly because it was an emergency. I was site managing Dodger Stadium, actually, which was the biggest site in the country at that time.
No big deal.
No big deal. And then after that, I actually realized that all of this stuff, all these different jobs I had, all these skills, all these leadership skills that I had really been learning from my favorite mentors and really working on, got me thinking like, I want to be able to apply this in a bigger way in business. So I got my MBA in my late 30s, and that's when I met this gentleman.
Yeah, it's kind of wild looking back that she even had the time of day to breathe, let alone date.
I was doing a hybrid MBA program while working, and I at that time also I was really interested in what coaching looked like for people, and I got a job as a professional matchmaker for a while, like a love matchmaker, which was really cool because I had been kind of coaching people in the dating scene for a while. I was very interested in that world. I thought it was really a people-focused world, which I've always been into that side of things. So after I got my MBA and I got certified in executive coaching, I then pivoted to leadership coaching. I still do a little bit in the dating world here and there. It's just a deep love of mine to talk about that stuff. I've, once you've worked in that world, it's a really small world actually. So it's very fun to be connected to the matchmakers all over this country. And now I get kind of my dream MBA job. After you get your MBA, especially if you're like me, you're like about to turn 40 and you're like, how am I going to make this degree mean something after not being in the business world in any way? I had a friend who had a company that was struggling a little bit at the time. And I said, let me jump on and help you transform this thing. And that's what we've been doing the last year and a half. And it has been so successful. And every day I just think to myself, how did this happen? And, that alongside People Fuss, I feel like I'm doing something that is using my best skills and getting the time to like grow and teach other people. I mean, it's a very satisfying time for me right now, for sure.
Oh my gosh, that is great. Now, Carrie, did you say you grew up in Southern California as well, or
San Diego? Yep.
San Diego. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Southern California.
Southern. So I actually got to teach at San Diego State for a while.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was cool.
Actually, that reminds me, Dr. B, sorry to cut in, but earlier you were saying that you'd gotten your master's in education technology.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Scott McAvoy, got to give him a shout out. He works at UCSD in the library. I think he used to work in the library when I met him, but now works for the Qualcomm Institute, I think. But he got his doctorate or his master's in education technology as well. And I learned so much from that guy. It was amazing. I didn't even know that was a degree until I'd met Scott.
Oh my God. Yeah, it is. Amazing. And it was so fun because that's what I got to teach. I taught at San Diego State. I taught at UC Riverside. I taught at Cal State San Bernardino. And then I was in charge in 95. I was in charge of the master's program in educational technology at Azusa Pacific University. And I did that for 5 years. And it was just so fun and so rewarding. And then I was like you, Carrie, was like, I need to start my own business. And so I left the education world. Then I was in financial services and doing living trust and some of the stuff that I do now, but still trying to impact lives. And so as you guys are thinking of all the millions of people that are in Southern California and trying to find your way, and I think everybody's at some point, and then you have this performing parents that you got to kind of equalize. How did you guys find your identities in this whole, I guess, all the folks that are around you and all the things that you could do and all the choices that you have, and then you found each other as well? Mm-hmm. So kind of walk me through your identities during that time, maybe a little bit before you found each other, and then how you found each other, and then how you guys have helped each other grow your identities.
Ooh, I like that last part.
I can say that there was a moment in my MBA program, we would sometimes do these in-person residencies. And I remember I went up and there's all these tables filled with all these, basically graduate students, but they're all different ages, ranging from sort of 20s to even maybe 50s or 60s sometimes because of the type of program it was. And I remember everybody was sitting around. It was maybe like the first 10 minutes of this residency. And the coordinator of the sort of online program was like running around the room trying to get all of the tables set up. And she was doing it by herself. And something inside of me kind of exploded, because there's nothing I hate more than seeing someone that needs, like, that obviously needs help, and someone that's trying to set up the thing, someone who's in service to a group who obviously needs a team and needs help. And so of course I like get up and I'm like, hey, you guys, let's start passing out pens with Diana. Let's start doing this thing. Hey, you go do this thing. Like, this is where my strength is. It's like, no, this person is not doing this by themselves. We can get this done in 5 minutes if we all work together. Right. And there was something that clicked for me that day where I thought, like, this is what has been ingrained in me, is that working as a team and working together and helping the people who need help, even if it's not like, I need help, I need money, and I need, it's like, could we get this done in a better way and actually like make this an experience together if we actually cooperate and do it together? And I think about that a lot, because I think that's something I learned from others, that's something that is like mentored into me. And so when I was in that program, it was actually a really tough time in my life because I wasn't getting that much sleep. I was working a lot and studying a lot. I was having some health problems at the time. And I just thought, you know what? Why not date? Why not date right now too? Let's just throw it all in there. Let's just like throw my weakened body online and see what happens. And I was a really good dater, I would say, because I coached people through it. I really understood how to date well. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I had a really different mindset about it. So even though I was in a tough time in my life, I think Doug and I hit it off pretty fast. We had 2 long online video dates. I was a huge fan, especially like coming out of COVID. And then our first date, we really hit it off. And even through a lot of drama, our first 6 months, again, it was like a crazy time. We kind of weren't really separated, and then moved in, and kind of the rest is history. You can tell us what your perspective is.
I mean, it's pretty similar. I think one of the things that first attracted me, and I think a lot of guys listening to this who have done online dating will relate. It's really difficult to engage with people through the apps, right? It's like just trying to get somebody to like agree to a date and time to just go and see them is tough. A lot of one-word responses and a lot of kind of, I don't know, dismissive ghosting, of course. But anyway, one of the first message that she sent me was some sort of non sequitur, just kind of out of the blue, like, this app, it doesn't feel like, it looks kind of like this, or like the design choices were a little blah blah blah. I was doing
a little bit of research for the online dating community, and I was like, I'm just going to talk to someone on here about this.
But I was like, oh my God, she's having a conversation. What the hell? And I haven't even met her in person yet. This is amazing. So that was the first thing that really drew me to her. I mean, no offense, babe, but it was a low bar, let me tell you.
We were both really open-minded though. Yeah. And that whole saying yes and showing up and like seeing the best in each other, we were both in that headspace, and that was really clear. Like, we showed up and laughed and had a great time. We didn't worry about
I think we had our first Zoom date that day.
Oh yeah, in night. Like 20 minutes or something, because we were both just like, hey, what the heck, that like say yes and just do it thing was, we were both in that headspace at the same time.
Be safe out there, ladies, obviously. Don't just say yes to
video dates.
Video dates for sure. I mean, that is
gosh. You guys are talking about video dates. I love it.
Yeah. No, I was big into video dates. I was like, if you don't want to spend time and money, you get someone on a quick little video. If they can't be there themselves, or they're being creepo, or they're like, I refuse to let you see what I look like, it's a red flag, I think.
Yeah. And guys, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I was recently single when I met her, and so I was on the apps and I was loving life. I mean, this was the first time I'd been on the apps, and I was like, I didn't know it was this much fun. But it's expensive. It gets expensive. Yeah. Going to dinner twice a week, So I was happy to do the online date a couple of times with Carrie, and then in person was history. Pro tip, gentlemen, if you think things are going to go well, pick a restaurant that's walking distance from her place.
Some of the advice I would always give with dating, it was clear that he was either not bruised enough from it, and so he didn't have those bad habits. But I always used to say, to my date coaching clients at the time, like, you really have to give people the benefit of the doubt and let them prove you wrong, even if you've had bad experiences, because especially online dating is like the whole universe. It's not very small in terms of like the slice of people and how much you might have in common. And it was so clear that he was following all the advice that I gave people for what to do right. I mean, and I don't think he was doing that purposefully. It just was,
just
how
who
he
I am.
approached people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm even more excited now because I can just imagine why you guys are doing this, that one of the things it takes away by doing online dating, because when I go to restaurants and I see people there first time, they're all like this, right?
Yeah.
You can't really do that when you're doing it on Zoom. It would be, well, I guess you could try to hide it below, but you're really kind of in. And so I've started a community. So my community is called Becoming the Person Universe.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole premise of Becoming Universe is allowing people, one, in relationship is the number one thing that we're going to do out of that. And so we're doing this big thing on Sunday. This is, as we're recording this is November of 2025. And so we're doing it's kind of a speed networking thing. Cool. I'm calling it something different, like connect to, be connected to. And so, but those folks that can start in as many people where we'll do, breakout rooms, and we're going to, just so we can start making, and then we'll move it into doing, 15, 20-minute coffees. Then we'll do, tables of different things that are of interest. You guys are going to have to help me with this now that I have to do about online dating and that kind of stuff. But then the other part of it is for entrepreneurs to be able to highlight the things that they're doing, be able to say, hey, this week we are doing this. And so we're going to do a webinar. We're just going to do a big Zoom call with as many people that are interested in the same thing, and bringing people together in a space, in a community that seems safe, at the same time helping them become the person that God put them on this planet to be. And I think that is, my number one focus of the whole, I'm calling it like the universe, is that folks will walk out of there or be part of this community that says, wait a minute, we're interested in you becoming that person and giving you the tools and the things that you need to be able to do it. And so to hear you guys talk about that and to come together that way and to say, hey, man, hey, we don't know what the future is going to hold. We just know that we don't want to do it alone. And I think that we were designed and put together and in a way that says, no, we're not. It's hard to do this thing. It's hard enough to do it alone.
People are craving community so much right now. And I will say, doing anything like this, they need a warm, loving host like you to sort of like break the ice. I mean, people, especially, I would say generations younger than us that maybe lost some community connectivity during COVID, and especially the younger Gen Z folks, they really need to see more examples of what it's like to connect without phones, constantly talking to them in their back pocket, and how good it actually feels. It's really hard to think about it ahead of time. For a lot of people, they feel anxiety thinking about doing it, but then doing it, you get the reward of, oh, this feels really good most of the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes afterwards you get that reward of like, oh, I made a new friend, or that connection really sparked something in me, or wow, I have a new mentor, or wow, they recommended this thing and I can't wait to check it out. I mean, there's so many rewards to that in-person experience. And I agree with you. I think our biology is set up for community. We cannot do stuff alone. We absolutely can't.
Yeah. And I think not just rewards, but they're more durable rewards when you have positive interactions with people, right? You've heard the term dopamine traps, right? There's porn, there's everything on the phone that's designed to just make it, addictive and give you that little dopamine jab every now and then. But the rewards that you get from having these positive in-person relationships are much more durable dopamine sources, I would say,
oh my gosh, yes.
Than the quick fix that is in everyone's pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm so excited that part of it, becomingtheperson.com, you see it on there, for folks to just be able to have a space, where, and eventually we want to do retreats and all that kind of stuff where, hey, if you found somebody online that is the perfect, or we're going to go, hey, maybe we come to Denver and we do a 14er or something together, or whatever. The group of people who want to do a 14er. And a 14er is a 14,000-foot mountain that people climb. Ooh. For those of you who don't know, in the altitude, and we have several of them here in Colorado.
I was going to say, there's plenty to choose from there, right?
Oh next my gosh! And people love doing. I don't love doing it no more. I'm too old to be driving. Yeah, there's some people way older than me. I'm going to go do a 14er. I'm like, no, I'm going to go sit in the Starbucks and have
I'm gonna go do a 12er, a pack.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a 12er, a 12-footer. Yeah, we're gonna climb up the stairs. Oh my gosh. So you guys have these separate, you come together and then you decide we need to do something together. Talk about the how that was birthed and the things that you're doing and how you're helping our larger communities and the people that are around. And you guys, I mean, you were just sitting in one night and watching reruns of Seinfeld or something, like, hey, we're gonna.
I'm actually strange. I don't like Seinfeld. I don't know why. It's too
my daughter loves Friends. I don't know.
Okay, Friends. All right.
People Fuss was never supposed to be a duo podcast. I was considering. I did a show years ago, a local radio show called Carry the Conversation, and I was talking with some executive coaching friends about really wanting to get something started, potentially for talking about like dating and politics, because it's been such a hot topic and it's something that I knew I could speak to with some expertise. But one of my executive coaching friends was like, why don't you do this with Dougie? He seems like he'd be the perfect co-host and that'd be way more interesting. And I was like, oh, he wouldn't want to do a podcast. He wouldn't want to do that. And he was like, oh, okay. And so then I was like, well, okay, I'll ask. And if the second I asked him, he lit up and he was like, yeah, we should do this. It's like, oh dear. Cause I'm like a monster producer, you know? And
I'm very opinionated. That's all. That's why I was excited.
But I've always said you were very theatrical.
That's true.
That's
true.
Yeah, he's a very theatrical person. That's why you fit in with my crowd. So people fuss. So we kind of dropped the idea that it was just going to be dating and politics, and I started thinking about like what connects my desire for always understanding and getting better at leadership and dating and love and connection between people. And things that have to do with even Doug's background and his experience. And we decided that it was really about this glue between people, which we kind of just talked about with you. And so People Fuss is a little bit of a, tongue-in-cheek title, right? It sounds like it might be negative, but actually I think it's trying to take a punchy look at what's going on between people in all these areas of our life. Yeah, dating and love has changed completely. Men and women especially are getting separated in these really interesting ways. And work, Gen Z is really wanting meaning in their work. And I think that's really beautiful. And I want to be a leader that hires people because they believe in meaning in the job and that it's not always for profit. I'm sort of like a weirdo MBA, I would say not anti-capitalist, but like equal people and capital. I'm like, there is not a one or the other world. And then, Doug's connection to history and how I'll let you speak as well. But I find that what you do so well is like think about things from the perspective of like when or how has this happened in history and how does that speak to what we're thinking about now? And I can't do that. I don't remember years and people in history the way we do. We're watching Ken Burns' documentary on the American Revolution. Oh, yeah. He's so psyched about it. Good. And I'm like, oh, I have to remember what I learned.
Oh man, no. For me, when she asked me if I wanted to do it, I was excited to give voice to this a counter voice to all of the toxic, negative, masculine kind of voices that are so prominent online in the podcast world. And so I wanted to give voice to a more positive, more respectful, more kind, more humble version of some of the voices that young men are hearing today. And yeah, I have opinions about just about anything, so I figured it would be a good outlet for some of that as well.
But you have a lot of knowledge and history to back it up, which I would call you on it if I didn't think that was true. Luckily, you have also the humility to know when you're not sure of something and you admit that quite readily.
Yeah. And I that's why I've always loved history, and she can attest to this. Like right now I'm reading nonfiction, but I do sometimes read fiction I'm reading fiction. I mix those up. I always mix those up. Maybe I am just like
weird.
I know.
Why do you have to put not in it?
Thing and a non thing. It's so dumb.
You say not real.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I read nonfiction for fun. I read historical books or books about history for fun because I enjoy it. And I just always have. Some of the more impactful classes that I've taken were history classes that kind of changed some of the way in which I view the world, or some of the big questions that people tend to ask. So yeah.
Well, as I'm listening to you guys, and I can see, and you guys are this power couple that, play off each other in such a great way. And I think about personal development, right? And the amount of, how do we grow ourselves so that we can be good for others and around the surrounding, and know more things and have knowledge that can affect others' lives. And I kind of envision, like, Carrie, you talked about, the executive coaches that you talk to, and you talked about reading books, and are some of the things you do together. I mean, it just jumped in my mind, like you guys in the morning getting up and maybe doing positive affirmations, and Carrie, you're telling Doug, hey, you're great. And then, you're telling her you're awesome. How do you guys blend your world of, hey, I know I have to work on me so I can be better, but at the same time, elevate each other, because two is better than one, right? When we're in a crowd, we shine better than if we're all by ourselves. So how do you guys do that?
You want to talk about volunteering?
Oh, I was going to talk about love languages.
And
how that.
Well, then I'll talk about volunteering. You talk about love languages, because that's fun. Okay. One thing. So when we first got together, we were talking about kids. We don't have any kids now. I'm not sure if we'll ever have them, but I always had it on my heart to volunteer as a CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocate. And I heard about it on the radio years ago through, I think, an NPR or, a public broadcasting station, where it was like this big, long commitment where you advocate for children in the foster care system in court. You basically are a volunteer. You don't get paid. You do this thing, and it's a long commitment. And at the time I was working in production, I always thought, like, oh, man, if I ever had a lifestyle where I could actually do this and attend court hearings and go, devote myself to a kid in this deeper way, that'd be great. So when we got together, I asked him if he was interested in it. And we've been CASAs together for a set of boys for the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. And whenever there's a volunteer opportunity, we've done a few together. And I really, both of us have really strong feelings about trying to do things like that, especially together. I would say even hosting things for others, even if it's friends or family, being responsible to others and doing it together is a good challenge, for sure. But also something that it feels like a glue or a connector for us. And it reminds us of purpose in that way of both of us do believe in leadership and service and all these things. So how can we live that out, even though our jobs aren't necessarily designed that way, or at least mine isn't? So volunteering together was what I thought of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm now that I hear you say that makes perfect sense. In fact, it always makes me think of the concept of selfish altruism. Do good things for other people because you want to feel good for yourself. Because it just feels good to help other people. So
luckily, that's a great design. You know what I mean?
That's a really good feature that we have as human beings. So I'm a big proponent of that, and I think that helps me, motivates me to be selfless, is to think of it selfishly, if that makes any sense at all. But when you were asking us about, do we wake up in the morning and give each other affirmations and stuff?
I wake up an hour or two before him. So
she does. She's a much earlier riser than I am.
Yeah.
But that's actually an ongoing part of our relationship that I think is just always gonna, relationships take work. And I think this is one of the things that takes work for us, is that we have very different love languages. Hers is very much an act of service type of love language. Mine is very much words of affirmation and physical affection. And so we're a little bit opposite in that way. But that forces us to think about the other person and what their language is and what their needs are. How can I show Carrie that I love her in a language that she will understand, other than just saying I love you, because that doesn't ring the same way. Yeah, that doesn't.
And the kitchen thanks you. The kitchen thanks you.
Yeah, the kitchen. Yeah, exactly. So vacuuming, and that's another form of selfish altruism, right? It's I don't enjoy cleaning the kitchen, but I know she likes a clean kitchen. So, you know, I'm going to get a little bit of a reward if I do this.
Don't you like it when the carpet has those vacuum lines though?
It does look good. It does look good.
Come on.
It does
or
look
like
good.
if there's a bunch of crap on the carpet and then you vacuum and it looks beautiful, everyone can appreciate
and
that.
we have 2 cats, so they leave lots of residue, lots of hair and whiskers, little nails and stuff. So sometimes if we wait too long, it gets pretty bad, and then it is satisfying, I will say. Yeah.
We, you know, because I've studied love and relationship frameworks through doing date coaching and things like that, I definitely did some really deep, hard thinking about myself, my history. I am absolutely someone who can be a lot more independent, and I learned to self-soothe. And I became an adult probably earlier because of divorce. And actually, both of us had divorces in our families at around the same time, like junior high, early high school.
Very similar childhoods. As it turns out.
And I grew up so fast, and I've always wanted to be older and have independence since I was a child. I will say that's probably just a trait I had, but that can really work against you in relationships when your partner is really different. So as everything, like pretty much every coaching session I've ever had with anyone, we talk about communication, and that applies to me and my relationship in our world every day, all the time. And it will always be something we have to work on.
Yeah. But I think it's a good thing, you know, because it does force us to think about the relationship in a way that makes us work on it, you know, as opposed to just kind of putting it on the back burner and not really having to think about it because we think we're so simpatico in every way. It you know, makes us do the work, which is good.
Oh, cool. One of the things there's so many things that you guys are bringing up that I'm just thinking in my own life. So we have like the housekeeper folks that come over once a month. And they actually make, you know, you talked about the lines in the carpet. Well, they put the lines on our furniture. So like, you know, that is like super cool to kind of watch that, because I teach the 5 love language a lot with Gary Chapman. In fact, even in our universe, when we're doing the relationship, one of the first tests that I'm having people do is the 5 love language test.
It's so helpful. It's such a helpful framework.
Oh my gosh. And then we're doing the Enneagram, and then we also do the Myers-Briggs. So you're going to get a lot of personality to kind of know. But I'm just thinking of when you work together, like my foster care story, and I'm so glad that you guys are doing it. And just to kind of give you, so I have twin boys now that are 30 years old that were part of the foster care. We adopted them. They were in New York. We became foster parents in California, and then somehow we found these kids online, and then eventually they were on the morning report. So all these things that we end up. So we go to New York, and to see if these 2 boys might be a fit for our household, because they're older. So we didn't do the baby. We did the, you know, adopt an older child, because we figured there's just so many that are out there that need, and you guys know because you work at that system in the foster care system. And so we go to New York, and so they put us up in a hotel, St. Vincent Services, and then we're out and we're taking them to the park, and we spend the whole weekend with them, and we're feeling pretty good about it. We get back to St. Vincent Services, and they have suitcases and plane tickets that they're saying, can you please take them with you?
Oh my gosh.
We don't want them to go back to the foster family. And we've done our foster care classes in California. But it wasn't like, oh, go home and decide. It's like, can you take them with you today?
That seems so unusual.
We will give you a Toys R Us gift certificate for when you get home to buy a whole bunch of toys.
Well, shoot, they should have given you a lot more than that.
But they didn't want them to go back into whatever the foster care situation it is.
Man.
So we looked at each other and we said, okay, we're going to do this. And then they said, we'll work with California and get all the, you know, everything switched over and all that kind of stuff. And so we say, hey, yeah, come on back. So we met them on Friday. Sunday, they're our kids.
Wow.
Holy moly. That is
then we come
so
back to
unusual.
California, and we call up our, you know, the foster care folks and, you know, the agency, and we say, hey, we got these 2 boys from New York. What do we do? And they're like, we don't have an agreement with New York. They're like, okay, if you don't have an agreement. They said, no, they didn't do any proper paperwork, so they got to deal with it. Well, obviously, we're not going to just take them back to New York and drop them off. So we had our foster care experience was 0. because nobody came to us. Nobody looked at our house. Nobody expected it. That was just designed that those boys would be in our home. Like I said, they're 30 years now. It all worked out, and they're all
they
good.
got lucky, man. Jesus.
Oh my gosh, they were crack babies, and we had no idea. So they gave us a bag of meds that weren't even marked properly. They had like some of the little canisters had different color pills and stuff in them because they thought they needed psychotropic type stuff at 3 years old. And you're like, what are you talking about? So we just pretty much just threw all the medicine away and then started from scratch as if they were. But to know that you guys were advocates in that situation, that was in 1995. So, that's how it worked back then. But to be able to do the things that you guys are doing and helping out and doing it together. And it's like your marriage can't fail because you are doing things together in a way. Like I just picture you guys, and maybe I'm wrong, but like you guys are coming home from work, just can't wait to see each other after a long day at work as you're driving home.
I love your fantasies about our daily life. I think they're so sweet. They're so sweet.
Let's not spoil them.
I know. No, we do make each other laugh quite a bit.
Yeah,
quite a bit. One of my favorite things about Douglas, and every time he asks me, or every time we have this conversation, I say some version of this, which is one of the things I knew early on. One of the things I really like about him is that he's not afraid to have deep conversations. And for a lot of men that didn't grow up with that instilled in them, they really struggle with having deeper conversations. I talk a lot and I demand a lot of my partner, and he keeps up with that and is always willing to listen, even if it's hard. So yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like, we just like everyone, we have days where we're really excited and love what we're doing together. And then we have days where we'd rather have some alone time.
Yeah, it's true. I got my office, I got my computer. She's got her little computer desk, everything, you know, so.
We love each other's families, which is really helpful.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's huge.
Yeah. He's got a lot of family here. He's got a great family. All my family loves him, and we mesh quite well. He has a pretty big family, and I love them all. They're wonderful.
Yeah, I'm very unusual in that I'm like third generation Californian on both sides of my family.
Even though he was born in Germany.
Even though I was born in Germany.
I love that.
Yeah, my dad's from Anaheim, Orange County. My mom's from Santa Barbara, Goleta, actually, technically. Yeah, I have 3 cousins, and they all have wives, and they're starting to have kids now, and so our Christmases and Thanksgivings are gonna get rowdy. I have a brother too who's just had a baby 3 years ago, a little 3-year-old boy now, so I get to be Uncle Douglas, and it's great.
Yeah, and we have a really solid big friend group here that I rely on quite heavily for my sanity as well. And I've always been a big advocate for especially men and women to have like resources outside of just each other. And sometimes you can like get really insular if you are only relying on one person. That's too much pressure for one person. You have to have your other resources. So we do have some really great outlets and friends and circles to do that.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why my first marriage failed. It was too insular. It wasn't broad enough. The relationship was too intertwined, I think. So
yeah. Are you guys the same age?
Yeah, we were born like 12 hours apart. Isn't that gross?
Yeah. Oh my gosh!
I know.
She's older than me.
I'm on April 14th.
April 15th.
Yeah.
And I have to say this since you brought it up. Do you know what happened on those dates? Those are very consequential dates in history. On April 14th, I forget the year. I should know the year, but Abraham Lincoln was shot on the night of April 14th, and he died on April 15th. The Titanic struck the iceberg on April 14th and sunk on April 15th. But don't worry. Then Carrie and Doug were born many years later to offset those tragedies.
The curses are broken.
Yes.
All right. That's your shot. You never get to tell that story on a podcast again.
Just watch me. You watch me.
Oh my gosh.
They're like, here he goes with the 14th and the 15th conversation.
Gotcha. So San Diego, Orange County, you're past Dayton Cross till college.
Way later. Yeah. I was 36 when I met him.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So it's only been like 4 years if you're 40 now. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. So you guys get to discover yourselves. And it's so funny because I'm thinking, like, I'm driving back from Pittsburgh this last week, right? And so my wife and I, I left on Thursday, and I believe she's missing me. I hope she's not making it up, but I truly believe that she's missing me. She could probably hear me in the other room here. But so, like, while I'm driving, she goes, well, I just want to make sure that we're close. So I had to get on the phone while I'm driving and literally listen to her sleep last night. Like, I could hear her breathing and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, actually, this is really cool. I don't feel alone in the car, for the, 26 hours or whatever I was in the car driving back, and, it just having that. But it's just so neat to have a partner that you get to do life with. And I think there's so many relationships you don't. Yeah.
Yeah. And we met at the right time in our lives too. We joke about this often, that if we had met in high school or even in college, like, we would not have gotten along, I don't think, at all. Very different people. I think I was much more different than the person she is now. I'm not sure how much you've.
Yeah, I don't think I've changed in
as much as I have. Much. Yeah.
I was always looking for I don't know that you would have been able to have the deep conversations then.
I think I would have. I just wouldn't have been. I don't know. I've always been a fan of therapy. I've been in therapy in high school off and on, and then now in my adult life as well. So I'm not afraid of feelings and feeling them and talking about feelings.
I love them. I love that. I love that you're saying that, especially for men, and we struggle with things like that. And then, but what's really cool is, because of the two of you, is not only you're not afraid of feelings and what they are, you're not afraid of her reaction when you have them.
Yeah.
And that can be a big difference, because I think that's why a lot of us don't want to talk about stuff, is because sometimes those reactions that we get just devastate us, right?
Totally. Like there's this mythical man figure that you have to live up to. And if you show some sort of emotion other than anger, it's weakness in some way or something. And I don't believe that. I mean, I grew up with a father that basically just showed anger as an emotion. And so I just didn't want to do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, how do you guys find your guests for People Fuss? What is like?
We haven't had any guests yet. We do plan on having them, but it's just been us for the first 15 episodes so far. Luckily, we do have a few really interesting episodes in the works. One of which actually is about people experiencing homelessness in LA. And I have some great contacts in that world, which I was like, oh, Dr. B is going to love this one.
Yeah, she volunteered a lot with PATH.
Yeah, I don't know if you know PATH, but I had a connection through when I did the COVID-19 sort of site testing stuff. There's a lot of people that were volunteering and working for that were doing all sorts of things related to that, world. And one gal that I met there, she's been working in homelessness for a long time. And she connected me with a couple great resources, people that wanted to kind of speak to the moment, how they think it's going, what they want for the future. And one guy is actually going to run for mayor. I can't talk about him, but she gave me a contact of a guy who's all about it. And it sounds like he's going to run for mayor.
Yeah. I've got ideas for folks from UCLA, but we also have some interesting people just within our own circles that we might tap into as guest ideas. But
you being a track enthusiast, you can appreciate this. So both Dougie and I have done triathlons. Mine I did when I was 18. He's done 3, and he did all of them within the last few years. Partially because my mom's very long time partner, his name is Grajan Dorson. He's like a legendary triathlon coach. And he's, I mean, I can't even tell you the wealth of knowledge that this man has, and he's done over 300 triathlons. So we want to have him on because he was a coach for, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. He did like team and training stuff for a long time. And the way that you cannot go anywhere with this man in San Diego without someone screaming, "Coach!" from across the way. He's just this connector, and he really connects people to their experience fundraising for a cause, which again, you know how I feel about that kind of stuff. And then also like competing in something that is extraordinarily hard. and really, really mentally and physically demanding, as sort of a solo sport that you do with others at the same time. Mm-hmm. So we want to have him on. He's still around, and we want to get him on the pod before it's too late.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. I've had a couple of my coaches come on to my podcast and they were Olympic coaches, and because I coached at Azusa Pacific University for 15 years. So I've been coaching, folks and kids, and, I can remember all my days going to UCLA and doing stuff. And oh my gosh, it just, when we think about, but I do need to tell you my favorite homeless, because maybe you can duplicate it as my homeless services. So I'm running homeless service education community, and I decided I'm going to do a Christmas party, right, for the folks who experience homelessness. So they build a brand new Hyatt across this, not too far, like maybe within a mile of the shelter. And so I come in, I'm saying, I want to bring, donors and bring people who are concerned, and then folks that experience homeless to this Christmas party. And the Hyatt does have no idea what they're getting into. They just know that I got money and I'm going to pay for this event. And so the night of the event, we have, I believe there's about 750 people who showed up. 450 were of folks experiencing homelessness that are bringing their carts to the Hyatt and parking them in front of the Hyatt while they're full of guests and walking through the lobby. And it was a spectacular night, and people getting to interact and learn about. They didn't invite us back the next
year.
I can't imagine why.
I'll just say that did happen, but if there's a way to duplicate it, it was such a great. And then we made sure that each of them had a hotel room, that night after the party, because in Denver it was snowing and it happened to be just this really cold night. None of them got to stay at the Hyatt. They didn't get a hotel room at the Hyatt, but we had other hotels that were available for them, and so it was just a super just cool experience for them to be able to do. And
bet.
Oh my gosh, the stuff that you guys are doing and the people that you're going to have on, and I can't wait to hear. You guys are just doing audio right now. You're not doing video.
No, we do video. We're actually in our little studio right now. We're only on one side of it, but usually we have we have a little video going on.
We got 3 cameras set up, a 2-shot, a 1-shot for each of us, and then we'll actually probably be mounting a camera right here for in-person guests. But right now we're just set up for Zoom guests.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I like that 3D people fuss. I think there needs to be a 3D living boldly with purpose.
I think so.
If somebody knows anything about 3D printing or 3D artwork or anything in the 3D world, living boldly with purpose.
There you go.
Has to have a 3D shelf thing. So
that's right.
Love it. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe we have talked. I could talk to you guys like all night long.
Time flies.
That's how you know it's good, Dr. B.
I know, this is so fun. So we will get together again. You're not done. You can't escape me. You are stuck with me now. That's even though what's kind of cool now is I have 8 children. And so 4 of them are here in Colorado and 4 of them are still in California. So 2 of them are in Southern California. They're at like in the Rancho Cucamonga area over there. And then the other 2 are up north. So you can't escape me because I visit them all the time. And so no matter what part of California you're in, you are going to find me showing up at your doorstep, knocking on your door. Can't
wait for that.
What do you want to say to our guests? Because we didn't talk about everything you wanted to. I was so selfish, but I don't care because it was so fun.
We covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we did. So, but I want you to tell us like how to get to People Fuss. I want you to tell us whatever it is we need to know, the things that you're volunteering for. What is it that I didn't ask that I should have that you guys want to make sure we talk about before we end the podcast?
Well, we always like to say, come fuss with us. You can find us everywhere with @PeopleFuss. So we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, but YouTube is really our hero platform. So if you look at People Fuss on YouTube, go subscribe, check it out. A lot of our episodes, we know that sometimes we're engaging in topics that might make people have big feelings, and we're actually really open to engaging there and like learning from other people. So because we touch on politics a bit, sometimes that can ruffle feathers, but we're really open to how people are feeling about things these days. So
yeah.
If you listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, we're on there too. Check out People Fuss. We drop every Thursday. We have a new episode every Thursday.
Yep.
Oh, cool. So are you guys recording those? You just get into your studio in your room on the weekends when you feel like more relaxed, or you just get out like one night or something like that when you actually record them. And
I think we've done one or two during the week when it's like spontaneous and like we have this really good idea or there's something happening that we want to talk about. But for the most part, yeah, it's a Saturday or a Sunday type deal when we both have more time to sit down and record and write out an episode and talk through it. And yeah.
Sometimes we're speaking to current events and sometimes it's a little bit more evergreen. Our very first episode, Dr. B, was on 5 love languages.
Yep.
Nice. I love it.
We went with kind of an easy softball because he's heard about them for so long now. And I really think, even though it's not necessarily like the most, scientifically proven framework, it's really accessible for people. And I have found it really useful and most people do. So
yeah,
that was our very first episode. But our last one, we talk about SNAP benefits. The one we have coming up is about people not retiring when they're in leadership roles and why that is.
Yep. And then the one that we recorded most recently, which is 2 ahead, I think now, is on influencers and public intellectuals of the past and how that world has changed and how, you become an influencer is to become a public intellectual.
Yeah. And is that a good or bad thing? We're not sure.
Yeah,
Ooh,
exactly.
Okay. That's really interesting. It's so funny when I was teaching high school, I took 2 classes and I taught one class, the love languages. And then I didn't teach the other class of language, so I could just see as a, I guess that's my, my research type person that was inside of that. I should have actually did it for my dissertation, but I didn't. And
experimenting on human subjects.
I know, but the class that I taught the love languages gelled together in such a way that when the semester was over, they wanted to do they were asking to do another semester as the class together because they enjoyed each other so much because they knew everybody in the class knew everybody's love language. And it would be funny because you would hear like the kids that, were words of affirmation and they would come, "Hey buddy, how you doing? You're so awesome today. You're wonderful." And, the ones that were physical touch, everybody was hugging them every day. The ones that were
exactly. It's so applicable.
Yeah,
it's so measurable, and you can use it in leadership too, right? Yeah, like with your employees that really appreciate the words of affirmation and the people romantic love. Yeah, it's just such a great little framework. I love it.
That is so. Yeah, so I'm acts of service. My wife's is words of affirmation. So we're doing like this kind of flip through on where you guys are.
Love that. Ooh, a little flip.
Yeah, a little flip. So yeah, I get up and write stuff on the mirror all the time and all that kind of stuff. And
all right, I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. What else do you do? What else do you do, Dr. B? Tell me.
Yes, lot. Yeah, well, the use words every time you get an opportunity. It's like, you're wonderful, you're amazing, you're awesome. They can't help but smile.
I did call you in the middle of the day. In the middle of my busy day, I called you.
You did.
Yes, I do that all the time. Yeah, and she cooks for me. I don't do any cooking at all, and she makes my favorite stuff all the time. And so, but I have with the 8 kids, they're all different love languages. So one of them happens to be gifts. And if I were to give that child a gift card, I would be thrown out of existence in life. So you have to
make it meaningful.
You have to be meaningful. It has to be thought of. And then she gives those types of gifts, and I love it, but not the same way that she does. And so it is just so fun to just know. And then the ones that I call often, there's ones that are words of affirmation that I call every day. There's, the one that's the physical touch, I don't get to see as much because they're in Southern California, but yeah, it is so cool when that's kind of, you're thinking about how do I serve others? And if I know a little bit and serve them in a way that their tank is full or they're just excited or happy, then it's just taking it to that 10x, by doing that and then making the difference. And especially when people are frustrated. The other thing that I learned is hurting people hurt people. And so I learned that about 30 years ago. And if I can get to the reason the person's hurting, then I don't get offended by them lashing out, because hurting people hurt people. And there's so many people that are lonely and hurting and not getting along. So
It's so true. At work sometimes if someone's being spicy with someone else, I always just say, remember, usually the way you treat people is how you're feeling about yourself right then. So it's probably something going on their insides.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I was like, as much as you can take the weight off if someone's being mean or nasty, it's like, you know what? It's probably something to do with their own hurt, as you would say.
And I'm only ever rainbows and sunshine. So
of course you are. Of course you are.
Were you hurting this morning? No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. Well, folks, thank you for being on today. If this is the first episode that you guys have seen, hey, hit subscribe, notifications, all those wonderful things that we do. Look through the list. We have so many incredible episodes that I think you will enjoy. I also want to make sure that you go to People Fuss. Check out their subscribe, support the community. These are some amazing, incredible people that have your best interests at heart. And I promise you, if you start watching and you start engaging, you will be a better person for it. And so, Carrie and Doug, thank you for being on. Thank you, Dr. B.
Thank you.
What's your guys' final thought? I know you usually do some kind of call to action in your podcast. Well, maybe what would be your final thoughts for today, and maybe a call to action that could help us be better people?
Ooh.
I mean, it's kind of tough for a lot of people out there right now. I'd say if you have a little extra food in your pantry, donate to your nearest food bank right now. There are a lot of families everywhere that are kind of really struggling to stay on their feet or feed their families. So we're big on volunteering, but a quick donation, just a couple cans of soup, doesn't have to be big, right? Doesn't have to be expensive as long as it's not expired. See if you can figure out your local food bank and just donate a little bit right now, because we had a tough month with the SNAP stuff.
And I would say just practice selfish altruism.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, thank you. You guys have an amazing, awesome, just incredible rest of your day. I can't wait to interact with you more. I promise you, Doug and Carrie are in my sphere. I've told you that I'm going to their house. I'm eating dinner. We're doing all kinds wonderful things. And I can't wait to see you guys on the next one. Have an amazing day. Don't forget your God's greatest gift.